So we saw that pineal gland. Pineal gland was the smallest gland as we have seen, but now this is going to be the thyroid gland, which is the largest endocrine gland. So here it's very clear that pineal gland is the smallest and thyroid gland is the largest. Okay. Now this largest endocrine gland, which is called as the thyroid gland, is placed in our this region. As you can see very clearly, here we have got the vocal cords, right? Where's my yes. So here you've got the vocal cords, and just like a butterfly shaped structure you can see, which is actually surrounding this vocal cord region. So it's going to be your thyroid gland. It's going to be broadly divided into two lobes, which are located on the either side of the trachea. So we already know the position of the trachea as well. We had seen in the chapter of breathing and exchange. So the tracheal region, okay, which is then going to like divide into the lungs, right? So they are going to be on the either side of the trachea. So here you can see the trachea as well. It's going to be on the either side of it. The lobes are interconnected by a connective tissue, which is going to be called as isthmus. Please remember this word, isthmus. So like if these are the two lobes, okay, and these are going to be the junctions, then the junction part will be made up of the connective tissue, and that particular part will be called as isthmus. Thyroid gland is composed of follicles and stromal tissues. So if you remember about the testes and the ovaries that we had studied in reproduction in humans one chapter, even there we have seen these words follicle and stromal tissue. Here also in the thyroid gland, this will be this follicles and the stromal tissue. In this diagram, you can very well see the position of them. See, these are the two lobes. This is one lobe and this is another lobe. So these are the lobes. Here you can see the follicles. These are the individual cells which are going to be the follicles. And this part at the center is going to be the isthmus. So here you can see the word isthmus as well. The central position which is going to be formed of connective tissue. Okay. Yeah. What are parathyroid glands, which is given over here? Okay. I'll talk about it after thyroid. ठीक है. So thyroid gland जो है उसमें ही पैराथायरॉइड पीछे की तरफ होता है, बैक साइड ऑफ द thyroid. So that is different gland altogether. So we'll be talking about that eventually. That is going to be there. I will talk about it. Okay. So let us go ahead with any doubts with the position of the thyroid gland? Anyone having any difficulty? They have got a peculiar function. These follicles are different follicles, which are, what do you mean by follicles? The ones which are going to secrete something. Okay. And the stroma is also going to be something which is going to involved in some secretion. So the follicles and the stroma are going to be responsible for different secretions. And what are the thyroid secretions, we know altogether. Okay. But still we're going to talk about it in detail. Okay. Then see, the follicular cells secrete the following hormones: thyroxine and thyrocalcitonin. बेटा thyroxine and thymosin, इसमें हमेशा confusion होता है बच्चों का. There's a difference between the word thyroxine and thymosin. Right now we are focusing on the word thyroxine. Okay, so thyroxine, ये देखो, tetraiodothyronine, which is called as T4, and triiodothyronine, which is T3. So T4 and T3 are the two types of thyroxines which are going to be produced by the thyroid gland. Okay, got it? So tetra means 4, iodo means associated with iodine, thyroxine. Okay, that is going to be your secretion of the thyroid gland. So these thyroxines are very, very crucial. They are very important for overall functioning of our body. How? Functions आगे आएगा of course. And the second one is thyrocalcitonin. Now understand this thing very precisely. Hypothalamus, right? The boss of the company is going to send or give the message to the pituitary, who is the master gland, that tell thyroid gland to start synthesizing its products. Okay, so hypothalamus is going to release a hormone that will trigger the pituitary gland to make TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone, which we have seen in the last class. Now this TSH will then, move from the pituitary gland to reach the thyroid gland. And now the thyroid gland will get the signal to make T4, T3 and thyrocalcitonin, that is TCT. So these three hormones, rather three बोलेंगे मतलब क्या, T4, T3, technically speaking they are thyroxine only. Okay, so to make these hormones thyroid gland is responsible. तो अगर क्वेश्चन आता है आपके एग्जाम में कि thyroid gland secretes, ऑप्शन है T4, T3, TCT, all of these. What would be your answer? Hello, tell me what would be your answer? Yes, fourth option, correct? All of these. If the question comes that thyroid gland secretes thyroxine, thyrocalcitonin, TSH, both 1 and 2, what would be your answer? First, second, third, fourth. Correct? Exactly. So, but I don't get confused with the secretions of pituitary gland and the secretions of the thyroid gland. Are you all getting me? समझ में आ रही है ये वाली, मतलब what I'm trying to tell you all? So what is exactly going to be such an important role of these thyroid gland secretions? Let us see those. Okay. So here, yeah, thyroxine, which is going to be your T4 and T3, collectively they are going to perform the same function. Regulation of basal metabolic rate, that is going to be called as your BMR. Have you all heard about this word BMR? What is basal metabolic rate? क्या होता है? Can anyone tell me what is this BMR? We have done it in which chapter? BMR. Living world में भी किया था. Very good दिया बेटा. बिल्कुल correct. Very correct answer. Very correct answer. Yes. So in digestion also we had yes, correct. So it is associated with what? The metabolic activity that is performed by our body when we are at rest. Okay, when we are not doing any physical activity, when we are not involved in any strenuous activity, and we are at rest, at peace, that time whatever metabolic activity is going to be taking place in our body is going to be called as your BMR. So your thyroxines are responsible for taking care of your BMR. Plus physical, mental and sexual development is purely associated with thyroxine. So your T3 and T4 are also taking care of the physical development. That means if there is any problem with the thyroxine production, there could be problems associated with the physical growth, mental growth and sexual growth as well. What is going to produce better? Thyroxine के दो types है. So T4 and T3 are going to be the types of, or they are examples of thyroxine, I would say. Thyroid will produce thyroxine. The functions? The functions are yes. Both of these T3 and T4 they are going to be responsible for these functions. Does sexual growth means the hormones? Hormones as well. Predominantly, it is going to be associated with the secondary sexual characteristics in both male and females. Okay, got it? So that is, so that is going to be the physical, mental and sexual development will be under the control of these thyroxines. ठीक है? Now see. They have given in detail about the functions. What are those? See, regulation of basal metabolic rate, that is BMR, physical, mental, sexual development, supports RBC formation. Now, this is also very crucial. Even the RBC formation, so we know that RBCs have a lifespan of how many days or how many months? Come on, tell me, try to recollect. Very good, very good, very good. Yes, you all are right with your answers. ओए 3 weeks क्या होता है? 3 weeks मतलब कितना days? 3 weeks नहीं रे, 21 days थोड़ी ना उसका है life. हाँ, it's 120 days बेटा. It's 120 days. 3 weeks नहीं. Yeah, please correct yourself. It's not 3 weeks. It's going to be 120 days. 3 months. Anyways. No, not 115. It's on an average 120. Okay. So what happens after those, death of those RBCs? New RBCs need to be produced. Na? New RBCs have to be formed. So these new RBCs will be also formed under the influence of these thyroxines. So any gadbad with the thyroxine production, there will be gadbad with the RBC production, leading to anemic condition of the person. Right? Controls the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Look at it. Don't you think इतना important है ये thyroxine कि ये क्या क्या नहीं कंट्रोल कर रहा है? मेटाबॉलिज्म कंट्रोल कर रहा है, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ फिजिकल हेल्थ, मेंटल हेल्थ, सेक्सुअल हेल्थ कंट्रोल कर रहा है, आरबीसी फॉर्मेशन भी कंट्रोल कर रहा है, and it is also controlling the metabolism of our three prime resources, that is carbs, proteins, and fats. So anything wrong with this thyroid now, it's going to have a multi-level effect. It also maintains water and electrolyte balance. Yes, see, also water and electrolytes. So overall, if you see the, the problems that are generally associated, is going to be with one of these only. And we really don't understand that why a person is having this so and so XYZ problem. So nowadays, as doctors, we always, recommend that go for the thyroid test. So many times, when we check for the thyroid test, they initially test for TSH level. If the TSH level is normal, then they will check for T3 and T4 production if it is normal or not. So अगर TSH में problem है तो क्या हो जाएगा बेटा? If there is problem with TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone नहीं बनना है, मतलब something wrong with the pituitary or maybe with the hypothalamus. So if TSH is not being formed properly, there is no one to come and tell the thyroid, कि come on, start making your products. तो वो products बनाएगा ही नहीं, या फिर कभी कभी इतना ज्यादा मैसेज आता रहेगा, इतना ज्यादा मैसेज आता रहेगा कि वो लगातार बनाता ही रहेगा. ओके, इफेक्ट ऑन थायराइड होगा ना. सो थायराइड का पूरा प्रॉब्लम, पूरा मिसमैनेजमेंट हो जाएगा. सी, हाइपो और हाइपर बोथ आर, या हाइपो और हाइपर बोथ आर नॉट गुड. ओके, सो when there is yes, there is excessive weight gain, when there is problem with the thyroid gland. Yes, okay, especially hyposecretion. Hyper mein there is weight loss, right? So this is about what is going to happen if there is problem with the thyroid. Of course, I'll tell you. Okay, problem is because of hypothalamus ultimately. We can't say. Sometimes your TSH levels are good, sometimes the TSH levels are normal. There is no problem with the TSH levels, but maybe there is some problem with the thyroid gland itself. So it is going to cause some problem. Okay, yeah, exactly. See, it is near your vocal cords, na beta? So it may be related with your sound as well. Yeah, someone asked me that why there is weight gain or weight loss. Regulation of basal metabolic rate is associated with thyroid. So your metabolism is completely going to be in the hands of this thyroxines. So anything extra or anything less obviously it's going to result in what? Obesity, or if it is hyper, it will lead to weight loss. Dramatic weight loss हो जाता है अगर hyper secretion है तो. Okay. Yeah, yeah. But see, thyroid problems can be cured with one small pill. एक गोली से thyroid control में आ सकता है. Personal, yeah, by its voice, not exactly by its voice. Blood test is the only foolproof method. So you have to collect the blood sample and you have to test for TSH, T4, T3. Okay. When we say someone's metabolism is low or high, do we usually talk about this? Not necessarily. It's like one of the parameters. हाँ, idea तो आ जाएगी, yes, of course. But still the foolproof method is to go for a blood test. Okay. It's done everywhere nowadays. All labs are doing blood test. Yes, correct. Divya, correct. Yeah, all pathology labs do this. Correct. So please remember these functions: BMR, physical, mental, sexual development, RBC formation, controls metabolism of all three: carbs, proteins, and fats, and maintains water and electrolyte balance as well. Very important. Very important. A regular question that has been asked. Now we talk about thyrocalcitonin. I know this diagram is actually a collective diagram of the two glands, parathyroid and thyroid, but still, first I'll just try to explain you. Thyrocalcitonin, TCT, it's a protein hormone. It regulates, rather it lowers the blood calcium level. Now when we say it lowers the blood calcium level, एक negativity आ जाती है, अरे blood calcium level कैसे ये कम करा सकता है? But what is the role of this thyrocalcitonin? Is to remove the calcium from the blood and make it deposited inside the bone. ये उसका role है. So whatever food we eat, whatever calcium rich food we eat, that calcium which is now reached the intestine, right, will be entering into the blood. And from this bloodstream, the TCT will take all this calcium from the blood and deposit into the bones. वही तो अपने को चाहिए ना? Our bones should become strong, right? Teeth, bones, they have got a lot of calcium. So, you know, though we eat it, directly the calcium cannot go and sit in the bones. It has to be under the influence of someone. So don't you think your TCT is very important? So whatever, like, see, if you are going to eat normal, you know, proper diet food, diet matlab weight loss wala food nahi, proper diet which contains calcium and everything, you know, then obviously you will get the source of calcium directly from the eaten food. If there's a problem, then we generally go for supplementation. So we take calcium supplements. I think you might have seen that ad of, you know, I don't remember, some women after 30s वाला एक ad आता है तापसी बन्नू का. कौन सा है रे? I forgot the name. एक ad आती है ना कोई तो, हाँ, Horlicks women. Yes. So हाँ, उसमें you have seen that the calcium is removed after the age of 30. Correct? So here ना उल्टा होने वाला है. Here this TCT is going to deposit the calcium into the bones. Okay. Yes, Umi, yes. So look over here, beta. What is the role of this calcitonin or TCT, thyrocalcitonin? See, the thyroid gland will release the calcitonin. It will go and get deposited in the bones. So it stimulates calcium deposition in the bones. So here you can see the bones. Okay, right? This causes reduction of calcium uptake in the kidney. So the blood, okay, has got a lot of calcium. If it is uptaken by the calcitonin, good. It got deposited in the bones. But if the blood will always have high calcium level, the kidney will be forced to take the calcium and throw it out. So if there is deposition of the calcium, then there is no problem. Then there will be reduction of calcium uptake in the kidney. Okay, that will cause lowering of the calcium levels. That will cause lowering of the calcium levels. And look over here, if the calcium level lowers, then what will happen is something associated with the PTH. Okay, so the PTH is going to be your parathyroid gland. Okay, kidney का function क्या है? Remove excess of things, my dears. So if blood में, we have done excretion osmoregulation recently. So what will happen? Yes, Palan. What will happen, beta? When the glomerular filtrate will get filtered out, squeezed out, calcium also will come into the filtrate. Okay, and the kidney ka PCT and DCT are responsible for what? The renal tubules are responsible for what? Uptake of the calcium back into the blood. Correct. But what will happen if the blood is already having a lot of calcium? Reabsorption nahi hoga calcium ka, and the calcium will be let out of the body through the urine. Now understood? Now you understood this is the reabsorption of the calcium from the renal tubules. Okay, because already the amount of calcium is high in the blood, so it does not have to go and get more calcium from the filtrate. But why it is high? Probably calcitonin is not being formed. So probably the blood is having good amount of calcium, but it is not in the capacity to make that calcium deposit into the bones. Right? That is the reason they say that when there is stimulation of calcium deposition in the bones, blood का calcium level drop हो गया. Okay? So kidney जो है वो क्या करेंगे अभी? It will not allow it to reduces the uptake in the kidney. मतलब kidney में squeezing out होगा ही नहीं, कम हो जाएगा load. Right? What will happen with the PTH? That I will explain when I come to PTH. As of now, did you all understand this circle? Calcium level, thyroxine, thyroid releases calcitonin. Calcitonin will trigger the deposition of calcium in this bone and reduces the calcium uptake in the kidneys. Okay, fine. Uptake means to reabsorb. Reabsorb. Okay. There is calcium in the blood, it is incapable of depositing in the bones due to lack of calcitonin. Yes, beta. Yes, exactly. So you require calcitonin. Without calcitonin, कोई कुछ काम का नहीं है. Bone contains, yeah, bones are going to have a lot of calcium. Lot of calcium. Phosphorus and calcium. Okay. Understood up till here? Any difficulty? I move ahead. Look at this one sentence which is very important. Iodine is essential for normal hormone synthesis in thyroid. Why iodine is required? Can anyone tell me? Either deposition or calcium uptake or both. It depends on the condition. How is the amount of calcium present in the blood? Depending on the conditions, there is a balance that will be maintained. Okay. What is iodine ka role? Come on, tell me. Osmoregulation? No. Secretion of thyroxine? Yes, that's correct. Yes, Siddhika, that is secretion of thyroxine, I agree. But how is it secretion of iodine? Thyroxine. What are the two examples of thyroxine? Tetraiodo. That means you require iodine. Without that, how can you form the molecule of iodo? Tetraiodo, हमने बोला ना, या triiodo. तो आयोडो जो है ना, that is iodine. So without iodine तो ये हो ही नहीं सकते, thyroid hormones बन ही नहीं सकते. Okay, so see how the things are correlated. Yeah, iodine is very important, very important. So we had first thought that hypothalamus है जो सब कुछ है. बाद में समझा सिर्फ hypothalamus तो कुछ काम का नहीं है. It requires the help of pituitary gland. पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड टीएसएच सिक्रीट किया, हमें लगा चलो बात खत्म. अरे नहीं भाई, थायराइड ग्लैंड का भी तो है काम. थायराइड ग्लैंड हमें लगा हाँ थायराइड ग्लैंड थायरोक्सिन बनाएगा, बट टू मेक थायरोक्सिन व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड? आयोडीन इज रिक्वायर्ड, राइट? Yeah, that is the reason we should consume iodized salt. Yes, beta. Exactly. Everyone is equally important. Exactly, Vaishnavi. All are having their, roles. सबके किरदार बनाए हुए हैं, सबका एक रोल फिक्स्ड है. You have to obey that. Yeah, exactly, Bhumi. So, like when we talk about the, minute detailings of each and everything, then we come to know. I don't know if you have gone to see the movies. आपने कभी मूवी देखा है थिएटर में जाके? देखा है? 1983 देखने के लिए कोई जाने वाला है अभी 1-2-4 दिन में FLT होने के बाद? Anyone want to go for 83? शायद मेरे टिकट्स बुक भी हो गए. देख, सबसे पहला मेरा नंबर लग गया. तो हाँ, तो अरे क्रिकेट है और वो भी बाबा 83. So of course I have seen it live. I have enjoyed it live. 83 मतलब वर्ल्ड कप मैंने विटनेस किया है, no doubt. Because I don't have FLT, मेरा नंबर लग गया. maybe my ticket is booked. I'm going. I'm going to enjoy it, of course. But देखो बेटा, मूवी के बाद है ना, हम लोग मूवी पूरा देख लेते हैं. पूरी मूवी, कोई भी मूवी हो, any movie, we enjoy that movie. And when that end का like हो गया ना, the end आया ना, तो हम लोग सीधा उठ के बाहर निकल जाते हैं. उसके बाद if you wait and if you see, the names are going on continuously. उसके मतलब हर एक के नाम आते रहते. कितने नाम आते हैं उसके, हाँ, कितने सारे. There would be more than 200 names minimum which will be seen on the screen after the movie is over. मतलब minute of the minute बंदे का भी कुछ ना कुछ रोल है, वैसे अपने सिस्टम का है. हमें लगा हाइपोथैलेमस डायरेक्टर, हाँ, पिट्यूटरी प्रोड्यूसर, हाँ, थायराइड ग्लैंड एक हीरो. हाँ, ऐसा नहीं होता है बेटा. बीच में बहुत सारे हेल्पर्स चाहिए हमें. ओके, नेम ऑफ द मूवी वेयर आई एम गोइंग, 1983 वर्ल्ड कप. 83 करके नाम है उसका, है ना? आए, हाँ, कास्ट के साथ क्रू भी. यस. Okay, yeah, so that is what is very important. That is what we should know, that it is not a one man show. It's going to be a pura teamwork. So your team is going to include all these. Okay, so even iodine is playing its own very important role. नमक के बगैर तो खाना कितना भी टेस्टी हो, कुछ टेस्ट नहीं आएगी, है ना? Yeah, yes Jaya, yes. Sure Palak, I would. Well, so I understood this very clearly. हाँ, ये वाला ऊपर वाला पिंक पार्ट वाला समझाना बेटा कैसे हो रहा है वो. Well, then we go to the disorders of hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. So here in the picture only you can very well see the problems associated with hypothyroidism. See, hypothyroidism is called as goiter, enlargement of thyroid gland due to deficiency of iodine. Here you can see how it is. ये देखो. Yes, Bhumi, correct बेटा. Hypo is less, hyper is more. Yes. ये देखो. Look at this man. You can see his entire part, like completely swollen. So this is called as the, symptom of goiter, and goiter is because of hypothyroidism. In adult women, it causes irregular menstrual cycle. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy affects the baby, causing stunted growth, which is called as cretinism, mental retardation, low intelligent quotient, that is low IQ, abnormal skin, death, mutism, etc. So look at these 3 kids. Can you see how are they? Their belly is protruding. Look at their abnormality in the face. Stunted means the growth is impaired. That growth is not going to be complete. Yes, this is, yes, very good, Sadika. Yes, this is generally seen in hilly regions. Okay, and yeah, exactly. So see now, look at these guys. Na kitna matlab, look at the way they are. They are not able to clearly open their eyes as well, and probably their mother uh, was having this thyroid deficiency during her pregnancy that led to such abnormalities in her children. Okay, so cretinism, ye yaad rakho beta word, it has been asked several times in your examinations. What is cretinism? Poor physical growth is cretinism. Okay, mental retardation, of course, low IQ, abnormal scale, deaf mutism. What do you mean by deaf mutism? Deaf is, so I agree, deaf. Mutism, okay, they cannot hear, they cannot speak. They have to remain muted. They are not in the capacity to speak. Okay, so in Marathi and Hindi, we call them Mukha Badhir. So they are, they can't speak also and they can't hear also. Right? So these are the problems associated with hypothyroidism. Okay, what are the foods that are going to take care of our iodine levels? See, iodine rich foods, sprouts, yogurt चाहिए, this is yogurt, this is mozzarella cheese जो आपको बहुत पसंद है, milk, eggs, seaweed, cranberry, navy beans. Navy beans are those जो pigeon को खिलाते हैं ना, right? Strawberries, all are very good sources of iodine. So of course our iodized namak is more than enough, but still. Okay, bunge bere, yes. Hyperthyroidism, oh my god, look at these pictures, कितने डरावने हैं, देखो इन तीनों के आंखें और फेस भी to some extent. So you like all these food, na? That's good. So see, thyroid gland का hyperthyroidism क्या करता है? Hyperthyroidism causes abnormal increase of thyroid hormones. Means thyrocalcitonin and thyroxine levels will be too much in number. Okay, बहुत ज़्यादा उनका volume बढ़ जाएगा, resulting in adverse effects on the physiological activities. So adverse effects means what will happen? उल्टा हो जाएगा पूरा, मतलब क्या हो जाएगा? BMR रेट बहुत हाई हो जाएगा, वेट लॉस स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, बहुत ज्यादा भूख लगने लगेगी, है ना? All these things will be seen in hyperthyroidism. It is caused due to development of nodules or cancer of thyroid gland. This picture is the cancer of thyroid gland. Look at it. ये जो है ना, ये अपना थायराइड ग्लैंड ही है, ये देखो जहां पर कैंसर के नोड्यूल्स दिखाई दे रहे हैं. You can see the outgrowths. You can see this isthmus. This is the isthmus that I was talking about. Okay, these are the two globes of thyroid, and you can see these type of extra growth of the follicles. So this is the cancer nodules of thyroid gland. So some people have got cancer of the thyroid gland. Okay, fine. Nodules are outgrowths, massive growth in that area causing thickenings is called as nodules. Got it? That is one major reason of hyperthyroidism. Ophthalmic goiter, which is called as grave disease. So if the question comes on only goiter, na, it is hypothyroidism. But exophthalmic goiter के बारे में पूछेंगे तो it is hyperthyroidism. Here is the point where you all will make mistakes. So please take care. Don't make any blunders over here, beta. Exophthalmic means associated with eyes. So what happens? It's also called as Graves' disease. It is a form of hyperthyroidism. What are the symptoms of Graves' disease? Enlargement of thyroid gland, protrusion of eyeballs. Protrusion means जैसे बाहर निकल आते हैं, ऐसे आंखें ऐसे लगता है कि अभी गिर जाएंगे. Increased BMR and weight loss. Right? Can hypothyroidism be reversed once iodine intake is regularized? Yes, but hypothyroidism can be easily reversed. How are eyeballs affected? कैसे होगा eyeball का effect? Why the eyes are propelling out? What forces them? Eye का protrusion क्यों है? What is under the control of your thyroid gland? Come on. Which is going to cause your normal opening and closing and maintaining the eyeballs in place. How is it? Your eyeballs are being controlled. And I'll teach you eye, that time you will come to know. It's actually circular spherical ball-like structure. Okay, they are fixed in the orbits. We have got orbits of eyes. It's fixed in that orbits, correct? And these orbits are going to be connected with certain muscles and ligaments. Yeah, we call them as sockets. Sockets बाहर से अंदर से orbits होते हैं बेटा. So these muscles का जो functioning है, everything is impaired. Everything is going to be at stake when there is hyperthyroidism. That will cause the bulging of the eyes, protrusions, as if they are now going to just come out from the socket. You can very well see, especially, you know, this person, you can see his face. No, not blindness. It doesn't lead to blindness, of course, but vision is going to be, you know, blurred vision for sure. Okay. Then what is the use? How are you going to become a doctor then? Huh? डॉक्टर बनने का है तो ऐसे पेशेंट्स आते हैं अपने पास. You cannot tell them, I can't see you, yeah, you go away. You can't tell like that way if you want to become a doctor. डॉक्टर को ये सारी चीजें तो नॉर्मल हो जाती है. हाँ? So yeah, especially, you know, like very different weird type of patients life में आते रहते हैं. No one is experienced at your age. At your age, everyone are just in the mind process of, yes, I want to become a doctor. Anyway, so you have understood this thyroid gland purely क्या होता है? We have to know, beta. Have you all understood what is exactly thyroid gland? What are the secretions of the thyroid gland? What happens in hypothyroidism? What happens in hyperthyroidism? है ना? Yes. Sometimes even they are victims of this. Yes. This slide? Oh my God, why? What happened? Where were you, beta? In case of hyperthyroidism, there is abnormal increase of thyroid hormones resulting in adverse effects on the physiological activities. So your entire physiological activities will be at stake. What causes hyperthyroidism? Probably the amount of TSH being produced by the pituitary gland is too high. It is not having any control. या फिर the hypothalamus is, you know, continuously bombarding the pituitary gland make TSH. So your hypothalamus is not, you know, functioning properly. Or maybe some of the cells of the thyroid itself have become oncogenic, means cancer causing. In all these things now, there is hyperthyroidism that may happen. Okay. Thyroid gland looks like the first picture in human, but normal. This is abnormal. This is cancerous thyroid. This is abnormal thyroid gland. Normal वाला ऐसा नहीं दिखता है. It is caused due to development of the nodules or the cancer of thyroid gland. So as I said, there are, you know, it can be a result of the you know, uncontrolled cell division of the thyroid gland itself. Okay. Exophthalmic goiter is one of the major causes of hyperthyroidism. It is also called as Graves' disease. What are the symptoms? Enlargement of thyroid gland, protrusion of eyeballs, increased basic metabolic rate, and weight loss. Got it? Now it's clear to all of you all. Good. Thyroid gland पे ना बेटा short note आता है. Write a short note on thyroid gland, wherein you need to write down. Then we go to the next one. That is going to be called as the parathyroid gland. So as I told you, दैट थायराइड के पीछे के साइड पे पैराथायराइड है. सो सी, दिस इज द पोजीशन ऑफ द पैराथायराइड ग्लैंड एट द बैक साइड. आगे से ये थायराइड ग्लैंड है, पीछे से पैराथायराइड. इधर है 1 2 3 4. So how many parathyroid glands are there? 4. 2 on each side from the back. Back मतलब thyroid के पीछे के sides. You can see this butterfly shape thyroid gland. और उसका जो back है उधर ये 4 buttons के जैसे चिपके हुए हैं. Right? Yes, Aditi. Right, बेटा. You're right. Yes, they are embedded in the thyroid gland. ऐसे button के जैसे 4 चिपके हुए हैं. These are 4 glands present on the backside of the thyroid gland, one pair each in the 2 lobes of the thyroid. Secrete a hormone called as PTH, parathyroid hormone, which is also a peptide hormone. Okay, ये parathyroid hormone है. अब parathyroid hormone बिल्कुल मतलब या parathyroid gland, why is it so much closely associated with the thyroid gland? Means there is something called as a balancing mechanism between both of them. That is the reason they are so closely associated. Correct? So let us understand what is the role of this parathyroid gland. Yeah. Function of the parathyroid gland. It increases calcium level in the blood. We call it as hypercalcemic. Now see, thyrocalcitonin was lowering the calcium in the blood. PTH is going to increase the calcium level in the blood. अभी अच्छा है या ये बुरा है? What do you think? This is good, this is bad. Increase of calcium level in the blood is good or is it bad? Good, bad, bad, good, maybe balancing, bad. Okay. I'll tell you. Simple वाली बात बता रही हूँ, ठीक है? Suppose, there's a person. It is good because calcitonin can take up more calcium. Fine. See, there's a person who has been given a particular function. Okay. Now that person is so loyal to his master. If he gets the things done in a good way, that's fine. But if that particular thing cannot be done in a normal, regular way, तो ये क्या करेगा? ये out of the way जाएगा, ये दूसरे को परेशान करेगा, ये दूसरे के यहाँ पर चोरी करेगा, लेकिन कुछ भी करके वो अपने मास्टर के लिए लॉयल्टी बेसिस पे वो चीज लेके आएगा. You are understanding what I'm trying to tell you? That is your PTH. PTH को क्या बोला है? Increase the amount of calcium in the blood. Okay. So there are 3 options for him. What is the first option? See, he is going to have the first option of picking up calcium from the intestine. Okay. So what has happened? See, parathyroid gland has released PTH. PTH has got 3 options. First option क्या है? Increase calcium uptake in the intestine. इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? Whatever food we have eaten, absorb calcium from there and deposit in the blood. First option. समझा first option क्या है? Calcium eaten by the person when reaches the intestine, उसको absorb करो और blood में डालो. This is a good option. Correct? अगर हमने कुछ कैल्शियम खाया ही नहीं, we have not eaten any food having calcium content. So what happened? This PTH went, searched in the intestine if there is any calcium. नहीं मिला. He is loyal. What he'll do? He'll go to the kidney and increase calcium uptake in the kidney. So the renal tubules will start absorption of calcium from the filtrate. तो अगर बाय चांस वो वहां से कोई कैल्शियम जा रहा है बाहर, तो भाई उसको उठा के लेके आओ. That's also a good way. चलो ठीक है. He is asking someone to do a favor for him. So PTH is going to the kidney and telling the renal tubules, go for reabsorption. Okay, so if little amount of calcium also present in the filtrate would have been thrown out in the form of urine from that particular source, it is trying to extract. That's also okay. Look at the third option. It very well knows that bones is the place which is a storehouse of calcium. तो अगर intestine में नहीं मिला calcium, reabsorption में नहीं मिला calcium, it will directly stimulate the release of calcium from the bones. अब देखो, have to go to the kidney and absorb from the filtrate. Yes, but even if that is also not available, go to the bones. Chalo, come on, remove the calcium. Blood wants it. So it will do good, it will do bad, whatever. What is his role? To maintain the calcium level in the bloodstream. तो उसके लिए उसको जो भी कुछ करना पड़े वो करने के लिए ready है. Did you all understand all the three methods? So ultimately what will happen? Because of this or this, calcium level will increase in the blood. Ultimately again, if it increases, it is going to be, put up into the bones under the influence of calcitonin. But it should happen that calcitonin has to be produced in good amount by the thyroid. Otherwise, no use. Okay? बोन में ही जाएगा बेटा, लेकिन वो गारंटी नहीं है बोन में जाएगा ही अगर कैल्सिटोनिन, थायरोकैल्सिटोनिन का अगर प्रोडक्शन इंपेयर्ड है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, then it will be circulating in the blood only. So anyways, this is a balancing mechanism. This is a balancing mechanism. So active vitamin yeah, vitamin D, yes. विटामिन डी इज द वन जो बोलते हैं ना दूध की शक्ति बढ़ाए करके बोलते हैं, दैट बोन बेटा की ऐड आती थी, दूध की शक्ति बढ़ाए. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय दैट? विटामिन डी के बगैर कैल्शियम एब्जॉर्प्शन इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी टेकिंग प्लेस एफिशिएंटली. सो विटामिन डी इज आल्सो इक्वली इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, दैट वे बोन विल डिटोरिएट. यस, दैट इज द रीजन दैट तापसी पन्नू की ऐड आती है जो मैंने बोला विमेंस हॉर्लिक्स वाली. व्हाट इज शी सेइंग? दैट ड्रिंक दिस, अदरवाइज द बोन. आपने देखा उस एड में बोन का डिसॉल्विंग दिखाया हुआ है ना? हाँ, तो बोन्स में से वो कैल्शियम बाहर निकाल रहे हैं, ऐसे कुछ वो एड में दिखाया है. सो दैट इज गोइंग टू हैपन if we don't consume good amount of calcium. So she's saying that you drink this, you will never have this problem of bone deterioration. Yeah, we get weak bones. Yes, better. Right is present between kidney and intestine. Where even vitamin D will be absorbed from the kidney and it will be sent over here into the intestine for movement if it is going to be thrown out. Active. Okay. Got this very clearly, all of you. Look at it. It stimulates the bone resorption, that is called as demineralization, removal of calcium mineral from the bones. It stimulates the reabsorption of calcium by renal tubules and increases the calcium absorption from the digested food. Along with TCT, it helps in calcium balance in the body. So TCT and PTH are actually the ones who are responsible for maintaining the calcium levels in the blood. Understood? Bones are the last options, yes. But generally in India and Indian females, bones are the first and last option. So we are never, keen on maintaining our health, especially Indian females. Yeah, because everywhere else now there is, a good consumption of milk and its products. But Indians are not good at it. And Indian females are worst at it. They don't want to drink milk, including me. They don't like paneer. They don't like cheese. नाटक ज़्यादा है हमारे यहाँ. है ना, इंक्लूडिंग मी, जैसे मैं हमेशा कहती हूँ, आई डोंट लाइक मिल्क, आई डोंट लाइक पनीर, आई डोंट लाइक चीज. So, problem with females like me especially. They don't let you all eat cheese. Cheese in moderation is good. It should be in moderation, not too much. Yeah. But I personally, I don't like these things. Personally, I don't like these. The smell of milk and all is not possible. Actually, है ना? Yeah. That is one problem. I actually hate it. I cannot tolerate the smell. I cannot tolerate the smell. Anyway, so that's why I said, इधर थोड़ा अपने इधर प्रॉब्लम ज्यादा है. हाँ, no, yes, you are right. But I like, what, buttermilk, which is one of the very good sources of calcium. Yeah, that is what you can anytime, have dahi and buttermilk. Very good sources of calcium. Very good sources. So I fulfill my calcium need with buttermilk every day. लस्सी नहीं, लस्सी में बहुत शक्कर होती है. Lot of sugar. Yeah, at your age it is okay. Huh? That is made with milk, but it is fermented. So milk वाला smell नहीं आता है. हाँ, yogurt of course. Why not? Yogurts are very good. Very good source of calcium and proteins as well. Every day, yeah, I have buttermilk every day. One full glass. Buttermilk is not recommended when we catch cold. You will never catch cold if you drink buttermilk 12, every day. It's going to have very good amount of vitamin B12. हाँ, तो मिल्क का स्मेल देखो कैसा होता है. बटर मिल्क का ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. बटर मिल्क मस्त लगता है. It's fermented and it is enriched with vitamin B12 because of lactic acid, lactobacilli. Of course, I have to make it and I love it. Well, beta, so you understood the calcium homeostasis. Any difficulty in this? People eating more milk have a fairer and smooth skin. I don't know. I don't drink milk since my, almost I would say after 2 years of my birth, I have stopped consuming milk. What is kefir? Kefir is also a type of curd only, but it is made using specialized strains of probiotic microorganisms. So that is kefir. Kefir curd is healthiest. It is costliest, but it is healthiest. Okay. You want me to summarize what? Thyroid, parathyroid. It's very simple. Thyroid gland is going to produce calcitonin. Calcitonin will stimulate the absorption of calcium in the bones. It will prevent the calcium uptake in the kidney. Now, because of all the deposition of the calcium in the bones, blood का calcium level कम हो गया. That triggered the parathyroid to form PTH. The parathyroid hormone will either take up calcium from intestine if we have consumed good amount of calcium in our diet, or it will ask the kidneys, okay, renal tubules basically, to uptake the calcium from the filtrate and deposit into the blood, or it may even stimulate calcium release from the bones, thereby maintaining the calcium level in the blood. So it will now increase the calcium level. Okay, so this is the thyroid and parathyroid ka collective effort to maintain calcium homeostasis. Dhruv, what a type of this you're giving example. Oh my god. Well, that is not me then, that is you, I would say. Huh? Okay, so yeah, I would share this PPT. Yes, of course. Okay, sure. Then we come to the sixth gland, which is okay, fine. Yeah. So let's talk about the thymus now. Thymus is one more gland which is also associated somewhere near the throat region, but not exactly the throat. It is going to be between the lungs का upper part. So see, a bilobed gland, again a bilobe, just like thyroid gland. This is also a bilobed gland, okay? A bilobed gland located between the lungs behind the sternum. You know, sternum was the breastbone. उसके पीछे के side पे है, okay? On the ventral side of the aorta. It secretes thymosin. So this is what I was talking about. Thyroxin, thyroid gland. Thymosin, thymus gland. Even thymosins are peptide glands. What is the function of these thymosins? See, first look at the location. ये देखो, यहाँ पर है अपना thymus gland. See here also they have shown in this figure also where it is exactly present. And here very clearly it is seen. So here you can see the thyroid gland. You can see the trachea. Correct? And here you can see the thymus gland. And just below the thymus gland lies our heart. So it's going to be squeezed between the lungs. These are lungs, right? This is the right lobe. This is the left lobe. These are called as septae. These are the lobules. And this is going to be the thymus gland, which will secrete thymosin. Okay. What is the role of thymosins? It differentiates T lymphocytes, which provide cell-mediated immunity. So you remember I had told you that the cells are going to be born in the bone marrow. Some cells will remain in the bone marrow for maturation. Some will move to the thymus gland for maturation. So the ones which remain in the bone marrow means the cavity of the bone. So those which remain in the bone marrow will be called as B cells, while those which will move to the thymus for maturation would be called as T lymphocytes. So we have got two types of lymphocytes, B and T. Let it be B lymphocyte, let it be T lymphocyte. दोनों का जन्म कहाँ हुआ है, बर्थ कहाँ हुआ है बेटा, बोन मैरो में. ओके, एक उधर ही मैच्योर होने के लिए रह जाता है, दूसरा thymus के पास चला जाता है for maturation, which will be called as T lymphocytes. And these T lymphocytes are going to generate cell-mediated immunity. Means what? They'll make cells which will directly go and attack the pathogens, antigens, virus, जो भी है ना, सीधा खुद जाके अटैक करते हैं. ओके, मतलब क्या? खुद कुश्ती खेलते हैं उनके साथ, खुद फाइटिंग करते हैं उनके साथ. They don't use pistols, they don't use swords, they don't use any type of an aid to kill the organisms. They themselves will go and start attacking. समझ में आई बात? So what is the difference between cell mediated immunity and humoral immunity? The second point is humoral immunity. See, it promotes antibody production for humoral immunity. Antibody is going to be एक हथियार है. तो हथियार चलाना अलग बात है और खुद मैदान में आके फाइटिंग करना अलग बात है. Got it? So the T lymphocytes are so aggressive, they don't require the help of anything. They go, they attack the pathogen, they kill it. But even there are certain this thing, thymosins, which will trigger the arms and ammunitions to be formed against that particular pathogen. That is called as antibody production. So don't you think our immunity is in the control of the thymosins? है ना? कोई भी अगर अटैक करता है तो सबसे पहले जाके उनके साथ फाइटिंग करना, ये टी लिम्फोसाइट्स का काम है. सिमिलरली उनके अगेंस्ट हथियार बनाना और उनको मारना, ये बी लिम्फोसाइट्स का काम है. बट दोनों जो है, they are under the control of what? Thymosin. So thymosins are the hormones which are going to take care of our body immunity. So don't you think even thymosins are very important? But what happens is, as we age, जैसे हम बड़े होते जाते हैं, मैं बूढ़े नहीं बोलूंगी, बड़े होते जाते हैं. As we age, the tendency of the thymus gland is it will go on reducing. उसकी size कम होती जाती है. It starts getting degenerated. And when a person almost becomes 70 years of age, traces of this thymus remains. Traces. Birth से लेकर जन्म होने के तुरंत बाद ही उसका साइज जो है ना ये छोटा होता जाता है. It's going to shrink in size. The cells are never replenished. Thymus cells will never undergo replenishment. They will never undergo mitosis. तो जितने use up हो गए. Yes, it is different in everyone. Yes, beta. Yes, Divya. It is different. It depends on your thymus. How good is the thymus gland? How effectively it is capable of producing thymocenes. Got it? Understood? So see here, that is what is mentioned over here. See, thymus is degenerated in old individuals, so production of thymosin decreases. As a result, immune response of old person becomes weak. Look at this diagram. A newborn baby का ये thymus देखो कितना बड़ा है. Correct? At 10 years, it has already started shrinking. You can see this pink color has shrunken. By the age of 25, it has become all the more less. By the age of 50, and by the age of 70. Okay, this is the histological pattern of thymic lobe, how the lobe is getting shrunken. So this is at newborn birth, 10 years, 25 years, 50 years, and 70 years. Okay, reverse time. Yes. Any reason for degeneration? There is no cell division occurring, so new cells won't be added. So as we age, the cells का deterioration होने ही वाला है. They don't have low immunity. Their immunity is good. Only the thing is they are not exposed to a lot many pathogens because of their young age. So they'll get cured very quickly. Okay. Yeah, these are the effects of degeneration. Yes. The genetic? No, nothing like that. It's a thumb rule that it is going to degenerate. Okay. But of course, it depends on, how you maintain it. Humoral immunity is indirect immunity. That is by production of antibodies. Antibodies are going to act like swords, knives, pistols, guns. Okay, who would they are going to be used for killing the pathogens only, but as intermediates. The cells won't directly go there. Okay. Yes, Dhruv. Very good, beta. Very nice. Perfect. Very nice. So this is about the thymus. Any difficulty with the thymus? So see, thyroid. Then the 4. Come on. Thyroid के बाद 4 कौन से देखे थे हमने? बताओ. Backside of the thyroid. What was the name? Very good. Yes. Parathyroid. And उसी के नीचे थोड़ा सा है अपना thymus. So hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, parathyroid, and thymus. We have completed with 6 glands till now. Any difficulty with any of these? Anyone having any problem with this, beta? All of you all have understood this? 100 years, their thymus must get fully extinct. Then there's effect in, but see, that is the reason now their thymus is extinct. Agreed. But their antibody production is still going on good. So there is someone to take care of the immunity. Okay. So not maybe that directly the cells are not present to take care of the pathogen, but antibodies are there, and we have got memory cells, which I'll be talking about in the chapter of human health and diseases. उसमें मैं बताऊं. ठीक है. ओके. नेक्स्ट क्या है? 7th gland is adrenal gland. Now this will become easy for you all to understand because we have done kidney in digestion chapter and excretion chapter. So now these things will become easy for you. See, adrenal gland, it has got 2 parts. This is the adrenal gland, like a cap over the kidney, है ना? This is the adrenal gland. Okay. This is the cortical region. And this is the medullary region. So cortex and medulla, it has got 2 parts. Outer part is going to be called as adrenal cortex and the inner part will be called as adrenal medulla. ठीक है. Now, sir, what happens next? Adrenal cortex, it has three layers. Zona reticularis, which is at the center. Ye dekho. Zona reticularis here. Middle zona fasciculata here. Okay. And outer zona glomerulosa over here. So these are the three layers of adrenal cortex. Okay. Very good, Aditi. Yes, beta, you're right. You're right. Perfect. Perfect. Look at this cross section. This is the capsule, renal capsule. Okay. This is going to be the zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis, and then lies the medulla. This is the cross section of our adrenal gland. Okay. See, it produces corticoid hormones such as glucocorticoids, mainly cortisol, mineralocorticoids, mainly aldosterone, and androgenic corticoids. So three corticoids. Cortex बना रहा है इसलिए corticoids. Why is it called as corticoids? Secretion of the cortex. So it is going to be called as corticoids. So glucocorticoids we have seen in digestion chapter. Mineralocorticoids also seen in digestion chapter, and androgenic corticoids we have seen in human reproduction chapter. So let's go into the details of all of these one more time, because I know many of you all are here who don't remember the name of the chapters also. So chapter के अंदर क्या किया वो याद रखना भाई तुम लोग के लिए बहुत मुश्किल है. So I'll not leave it to you. I'll talk about it. Okay. So first we talk about the glucocorticoids. See, glucocorticoids, gluco, नाम से पता चल रहा है, associated with sugar. Sugar means carbohydrate. So it is involved in carbohydrate metabolism. It stimulates gluconeogenesis. वो कॉमा के जगह पर एक्चुअली बाय होना चाहिए, by lipolysis and proteolysis. Now, what do you mean by that word gluconeogenesis? Do you all recollect? I had told you all what is gluconeo. याद है कुछ? Gluconeogenesis क्या होता है? Lipolysis is breakdown of lipids. Proteolysis is breakdown of proteins. Yes, Vaishnavi, very good, very good. Very nice answer, Vaishnavi. Right. Chalo, others please try to recollect gluconeo. See, genesis of glucose is agreed, generation of glucose, but neo ये word है ना बेटा बीच में. Glucogenesis नहीं बोला है ना, gluconeogenesis बोला है. I'm putting down, I'm giving you a hint. Gluconeogenesis by lipolysis and proteolysis. Now try to give me the right answer. By lipolysis and proteolysis. Come on. Try to give me the right answer now. Very good, Siddhika. Very good. Yes, yes, yes. Now it's right. Generation of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. Yes, Bhumi, right. Okay. So when glucose will be formed from any other source except a carbohydrate will be called as gluconeogenesis. Yes. Making of glucose by breakdown of lipids, breaking of glucose by breakdown of proteins. Okay. So we have already seen the chapter of respiration. So you already know there is an amphibolic pathway which is operative. So you know that how fats, lipids or proteins also can ultimately enter the Krebs cycle. You know this, correct? That is called as gluconeogenesis. Fine. It inhibits cellular uptake and utilization of amino acid because that amino acid will be used for making glucose. So it is not going to be allowed to use it as amino acid. It will maintain cardiovascular system and kidney function. Glucocorticoids. Cortisol stimulates RBC production. So see, One more person who is responsible for RBC production. Produces anti-inflammatory reactions and suppresses immune response. Anti-inflammatory reactions. Okay, so that is your glucocorticoids. So very important functions of glucocorticoids: carbohydrate metabolism, gluconeogenesis, stopping the uptake and utilization of amino acids to make proteins. Proteins नहीं बनाएगा, glucose ही बनाएगा. Okay. Maintains cardiovascular and kidney functions, RBC production, anti-inflammatory, and suppresses immune response. Did you all understand? Look at this diagram now. It will make the things all the more very simple. See, amino acid concentration will increase. Protein degradation will increase. Protein synthesis will decrease. Glucose utilization will decrease. Sensitivity to insulin will also decrease. Otherwise, insulin will break down glucose. Okay, from the muscle. Why? Why? Because of this production of glucocorticoids. Okay, and ये liver जो है ना, इसमें से ही ये सब कुछ होने वाला है. Okay, ये देखो, glycerol amount will increase. Fat cells will reduce the glucose utilization, become sensitive to insulin, and lipolysis will increase. Fat cells का lysis होने को start हो जाएगा lipid content का, so that glycerol content बढ़ जाए. So glycogen storage बढ़ जाएगा, gluconeogenesis बढ़ जाएगा. For this, of course, this was a part of your digestion chapter, but still. Then we come to mineralocorticoids. Mineralocorticoids we have seen in excretion and osmoregulation chapter basically. So it regulates the water, that is the body fluid volume, electrolytic balance, osmotic pressure, blood pressure. Aldosterone mechanism, do you all remember? Vasodilator, vasoconstrictor, ये नाम सुने से लग रहा है. So aldosterone stimulates the reabsorption of Na plus and water from renal tubules and excretion of K plus and PO4 3- from the renal tubules. So you remember these reabsorption wala part, the diagram that is given with the loop of Henle. There this aldosterone is playing a very important role. So it's stimulating the reabsorption of sodium ions and water from the renal tubule, and it is causing the K plus and the phosphates to move out. Okay, so that is the second hormone that is being produced. Oh, I haven't sent you all excretion chapter PDF. Okay, I'll send it. I'll send it today. Good, you made me. I'll send it today. So glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. Any difficulty? Third will be the androgenic hormones. It's maintain the osmolarity. We have to maintain the osmolarity of the interstitial fluid now. So there has to be excretion of K plus and PO4. K plus is positively charged, PO4 negatively charged. So the balance has to be maintained. Okay, this was seen in excretion osmoregulation. Aldosterone, you remember or no? Aldosterone mechanism, juxtaglomerular apparatus, aldosterone synthesis. कि भूल गए excretion osmoregulation chapter? याद है? Do you recollect aldosterone or no? FLT, only FLT पे फोकस कर रहे हो, तो ये चैप्टर को बाद में देखेंगे, अभी तो है नहीं ना. है कि नहीं है? ये FLT में है या नहीं है? हाँ, इसीलिए आंसर्स नहीं आ रहे हैं. तो तुम लोग को क्या मतलब, I don't understand. Unless and until we don't declare any test, you don't want to even take the book in your hand, I guess. Huh? Is it like that way? Read this chapter as well. Excretion chapter is also very important. Third is androgenic hormones, which is going to be secreted from the adrenal cortex. It's going to be specifically for the growth of axial hair, pubic hair, and facial hair during puberty. So the beard, the mustaches, then the pubic hair, huh? All are going to be axial hair is the hair growing on the inside the armpits and all these are going to be under the influence of these androgenic corticoids which are going to be synthesized from the adrenal cortex. ठीक है, वैट नहीं हुआ, मैंने पर्पसली नहीं लगाया वैट एक्सक्रीशन ऑस्मोरेगुलेशन का, नहीं तो क्या होता था बेटा, तुम लोग अगर वैट डिक्लेयर किया तो तुम लोग एक्सक्रीशन ऑस्मोरेगुलेशन में के पढ़ाई में लग जाते थे, जो एफएलटी में नहीं है. सो आई डोंट वांट यू ऑल टू स्कोर बैड इन एफएलटी बिकॉज ऑफ वन चैप्टर. Because I have not kept this chapter in FLT, I did not keep the VAT also for this chapter for excretion osmoregulation. Filhal, focus purely on your FLT chapters. That is the only reason, and that was the reason I have given cell cycle, cell division. So important है और तुम लोग भूल जाते हो उसको, इसीलिए उसका मैंने लगाया था एक टेस्ट. I know you people. Anyway, so you understood about the adrenal cortex. You now any difficulty with the adrenal cortex? Glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, androgenic corticoids, all easy. Okay. Now what happens over here? See, diseases. So adrenal cortex के deficiency से क्या होगा? Deficiency of corticoid hormones affects carbohydrate metabolism because gluconeogenesis is impaired now. Eventually, it causes acute weakness and fatigue. This condition is called as Addison's disease. So look at this female, कितनी दुखी बेचारी, उसका फेस देख के बुरा लग रहा है या नहीं? She is very tired and weak and pale. And look at the hands, how they have become. Okay, you can see this swollen fingers and crooked hands. Here also see swollen and crooked hands. Yes. So beta, this is your Addison's disease. It is caused because of impairment of the adrenal cortex. Pulsed है, swollen है. Yes. Okay. So Addison's disease, adrenal cortex से associated है. Graves disease, hyperthyroidism के वजह से है. Goiter, hypothyroidism के वजह से है. So these are very specific names, but don't forget them. They'll be, you know, this is one of the favorite chapters of the examiners, though it seems to be very simple. Okay. Then we come to the adrenal medulla. Seventh will be adrenal medulla. Now this is a part of your digestion again. So see, it produces catecholamine hormones such as adrenaline and noradrenaline. Epinephrine and norepinephrine is the synonyms of both of them. They are rapidly secreted when in response to stress or emergency situations. So they are called as emergency hormones. Hormones of fight, flight or fear. उसको 3F कहते हैं actually. We call it as 3F. What is 3F? Fight, flight, fear. तो जब तुम्हें बहुत डर लगता है तो एड्रेनालिन और एड्रेनालिन सिंथेसाइज होता है. तुम्हें बहुत गुस्सा आता है, किसी को मारने का मन करता है, ये एड्रेनल मेडुला के वजह से. व्हाट यू से, मेरा दिमाग गर्म हो चुका है. अरे दिमाग नहीं, एड्रेनल मेडुला गर्म हो चुका है. नेक्स्ट टाइम ये सोच के खुद को ही शांत करो. ओके. फ्लाइट. yes, Ritika, yes, beta. So, yeah. So now, when you are, actually traveling, and all of a sudden, एकदम, या फिर by traveling, flight का हिसाब मतलब only by aeroplane या flight वैसा नहीं है. आप वो बड़े वाले वो झूले पे बैठे हो, what we call it, like a merry-go-round, a very huge one. What is it called, Ray? Giant wheel. Yeah. Giant wheel. So when the giant wheel, yeah, you might have gone to this Eiffel World या फिर ऐसे कोई rides पे and all. So वो जो झूला जब वो नीचे आता है तो पेट में एक अलग लेवल का कुछ sensation होता है क्या? हाँ, Ferris wheel, yes. Do you feel something is happening in your stomach at that particular time, for that one particular moment? Exactly. That is when your adrenaline, noradrenalines have been, stimulated by the adrenal medulla. So technically, when you are in fight, fear or flight, that time जो खून खौल उठता है आपका, वो actually ये adrenal medulla की वजह से होता है. Right now, so these are called as catecholamine hormones. हाँ. Yes, yes, yes. Something will happen very odd. अजीब तरीके से कुछ पेट में ऐसा एकदम से कुछ होता है. Increases blood pressure. Yes, yes. They are going to increase. Yes. हाँ. मराठी भी से पोटात गोळा आला है ना? ऐसे बोलते हैं ना हम लोग. Yes, yes, exactly. So this is because of the adrenal medulla. Okay. And remember this word catecholamine. Okay, catecholamine. ठीक है? कौन से है दो? Adrenaline and noradrenaline. Yes, yes. Only in case of 3F. Only in case of 3F condition. Otherwise, they will not be synthesized regularly. Okay. Even we throw out due to the strains. Yeah, exactly. During flight, it is because of this only. Okay. Catecholamine hormones, the ones which are going to be synthesized in the medullary region of the adrenal gland. Okay, as that was corticoids secreted by the cortical region of the medullary gland. Okay. Yeah. This is very interesting, of course. These hormones increases alertness, pupillary dilations. तो हमारी आंखें बड़ी हो जाती है. देखो, एकदम से डर लगता है तो आंखें बड़ी हो जाती है. हाँ, गुस्सा आता है तो भी आंखें बड़ी हो जाती है. करेक्ट. सो पिपुलरी डायलेशन, आंखें बड़ी हो जाती है एकदम से. पाइलोइरेक्शन, राइजिंग ऑफ हेयर, गूज़बम्प्स. यस, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज पाइलोइरेक्शन. स्वेटिंग, इंक्रीज इन हार्ट बीट, धड़धड़ बढ़ जाती है अपनी, है ना. एक्चुअली धड़धड़ नहीं बोलना है, क्या बोलना है? आई टोल्ड यू, इट इज नॉट धड़धड़. व्हाट इज इट? Lub-dub, yes. So your heartbeat will increase, heart contraction will increase, and respiratory rate will increase. You will start respiring very fast. Breathing action बहुत rapid हो जाती है. कभी गुस्सा आता है? बोलो मैम, अभी भी आ रहा है. बोलो ना, बोलो. हाँ? But सच में जब गुस्सा आता है ना, तो बहुत you actually, you start panting when you actually are very, like in a mood, fearful mood में ऐसा लगता है किसी को मारे अभी जाके, है ना. Breathing बढ़ जाता है. They also stimulate breakdown of glycogen to increase glucose in the blood. Also stimulates the breakdown of lipids and proteins. So see बेटा, ऐसे कहा जाता है कि some people say कि doctor, my blood, my sugar, my diabetes is not related with my eating habits, but it is more related with my stress levels. तो जिनको डायबिटीज है उनको कहा जाता है टेंशन नहीं लेने का, स्ट्रेस नहीं लेने का. क्यों नहीं लेने का? स्ट्रेस का और डायबिटीज का क्या रिलेशन है? तो ये रिलेशन है बेटा. जब हम स्ट्रेस लेते हैं, जब हम टेंशन लेते हैं, जब हम डर जाते हैं, जब हमें गुस्सा आता है, दैट टाइम these hormones, norepinephrine and epinephrine will be synthesized, which will cause the breakdown of glycogen. Glycogen is the reserve food. Glycogen जो है ये reserve food है, वो उसके ऊपर एक्ट करते हैं ये सारे epinephrine, norepinephrine वगैरह, and they will start breakdown of glycogen into glucose. Now where will this glucose go? Of course in the blood. So that will increase the blood glucose level again. So stress हो जाता है तो ये hormones trigger होते हैं. ये hormones trigger होते हैं, they will act on glycogen. Glycogen will get broken down into glucose. Where will the glucose go? Into the bloodstream. Okay. Are these hormones important? Yes, they are important. All these hormones are important. Fine. So that is the reason, you should be calm, you should be peaceful, you should be sorted out, as you say nowadays, your language. If you're sorted out now, then there is no problem with all these things. Right? So in the, like whenever you hear someone saying that my diabetes is related to stress, usko pucho, how is it? That person will not be able to answer you. You will be answering that person. You know, uncle, kya hai aapka problem? And then you explain that when you take stress now, what is happening? Your adrenal medulla is secreting adrenaline and noradrenaline. These two hormones now, they will go and they will break down your stored glucose, that is glycogen. Then glycogen will split up to form glucose, and that glucose will enter your bloodstream. When the glucose is entering your bloodstream, you are again going to be, you know what, a diabetic person. So please don't take stress, uncle, and don't while saying this na that my food habit से कुछ नहीं होता है, मेरे stress level से होता है, और तो you should know that ये कैसे होता है. ऐसे अभी तुम लोग explain करोगे the way I explained. Hereditary diabetes is also similar. Yeah, heredity is also there, somewhat similar. It is also somewhat similar. Okay. People don't listen. You should make them listen. You should make them, you know, understand. अरे बाबा सुनो, मैं बहुत important चीज कुछ कह रही हूँ. सुनो मेरी बात. तुमसे ही related. तुम ज्यादा जियोगे अगर मेरी बात सुनोगे. ऐसे बोलते हैं ना तो सब सुनने के लिए बैठते हैं. सबको अच्छा जीना होता है, ज्यादा जीना है. I want to live better. Short and sweet में ही तो समझाया ना. It's not a long story. It's short and sweet. In a minute, you can complete this particular answer. Okay. So I hope you all have understood what exactly glycogen related, stress related diabetes is, and how is it related with glycogen. Okay now? Well, now this is something which is pancreas, which we have done again in the chapter of digestion. So a composite, that is heterocrine organ, which is exocrine as well as endocrine. Islets of Langerhans are the endocrine plant. They are about 1 to 2 millions in numbers, of 1 to 2% of the pancreatic tissue. We know that they have got alpha cells and beta cells. Alpha cells and beta cells in the islets secrete peptide hormones such as glucagon and insulin respectively. They maintain glucose homeostasis in the blood. So, you know, glucagon is going to increase the glucose level of the blood, and insulin will decrease the glucose level of the blood. So how do they do it? We are going to see it. But this is like easy because we have done it now. So ये easy लगेगा अभी. Yeah. So ये देखो pancreatic acini and all this is the pancreas का ये part हमने enlarge किया है. Alpha cells, beta cells. These are the entire ones are going to be called as the islets of Langerhans. Right? Here. What is going to happen? How are they going to function? Glucagon, hyperglycemic hormone कहते हैं हम उसको. It acts on the hepatocytes. Hepatocytes means cells of the, what are hepatocytes? Cells of the, which cells? Thank you. Yes, cells of the liver. So it acts on the liver cells and stimulates glycogenolysis. Means glycogen ka breakdown. Lysis of who? Glycogen. Glycogenolysis, resulting in an increased blood sugar. So glycogen will be broken down. It will liberate glucose. It stimulates gluconeogenesis, that is formation of glucose from non-carbohydrate source. It reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So it will prevent the cells from taking up the glucose and converting into energy. इससे वो रोकता है glucagon. Okay. So ये देखो, low blood glucose हो जाता है तो pancreas के alpha cells will start synthesizing glucagon. So glucagon released by the alpha cells. Okay. Liver releases glucose into the blood. So we know liver is going to be containing what? Glycogen. So this glucagon will break down the glycogen of the liver and glucose will get released in the blood and normal blood glucose levels will be attained. Correct hai? Ye wala part. What happens in case of insulin? It acts on hepatocytes and adipocytes. So in this diagram you can see that hepatocytes means against the same liver cells, and the adipocytes. ये देखो, adipocytes are fat cells, correct? So it acts on the hepatocytes and adipocytes and enhances cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So they force the glucose from the bloodstream to enter into the cell. Once in the cell, it will enter the cytoplasm of the cell. Once in the cytoplasm of the cell, glycolysis, acetylation, Krebs cycle, ETS, ATP. So when the sugar is in the bloodstream, no ATP. For the ATP formation, the sugar from the blood should enter the cells, which is called as cellular uptake. Okay, so it enhances cellular uptake of glucose and its utilization to convert it into energy, right? So blood glucose rapidly moves to the hepatocytes and adipocytes. So hepatocytes में जाएगा या adipocytes में जाएगा तो मे बी वो ATP में कन्वर्ट नहीं होगा, मे बी वो वहां पर स्टोर हो जाएगा. Okay, thus blood glucose level will decrease, leading to hypoglycemia. Hypo means low amount of, glycemia means sugar content. It stimulates glycogenesis, means formation of glycogen from glucose. So insulin and glucagon are exactly opposite of each other, correct? So they maintain homeostasis of our glucose metabolism. पैनक्रियास में गड़बड़ हो गई तो गड़बड़. तो ये देखो बेटा, हाई ब्लड ग्लूकोज अगर हो जाता है, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ ब्लड ग्लूकोज प्रेजेंट इन द ब्लड, pancreas के beta cells will get triggered, insulin released by the beta cells of the pancreas, which will be taken up by the fat cells. Okay, so fat cells take in glucose from the blood and maintain the amount of normal glucose in the bloodstream. Now here they can either be stored or they can be broken down to form ATP, whatever the need of the RS. Okay, yeah, lack of insulin, high sugar. Yes. Understood glucagon and insulin mechanism. Diabetes mellitus. It is a disorder due to prolonged hyperglycemia. Prolonged means for a very long time, if the blood is going to contain a lot of sugar, we call it as prolonged hyperglycemia. Symptoms: loss of glucose through urine and formation of something called as what? What will be formed? Harmful substances like ketone bodies. Treatment is insulin therapy. We generally inject insulin directly into the blood. Diabetes mellitus, very common in India. Then the next gland is the gonads, human endocrine system. Gonad is the ninth one. Gonads are of two types, testes and ovaries. We already know about them. Testes, it is the male primary sex organ, which is an endocrine gland as well. A pair of testes is present in the scrotal sac. Of course, we have done the entire chapter of human reproduction. Testes, it is formed by seminiferous tubules and interstitial tissues. Leydig cells in the intertubular spaces produces hormones called as androgens, mainly testosterone. Okay. Yeah, I have already explained what is diabetes insipidus and what is diabetes mellitus. Totally different, right? Yeah. So seminiferous tubules के अंदर कैसे spermatozoa का formation होता है and everything हमने detailing किया है. So this becomes simple. Functions of the androgens: regulates the development, maturation and functions of the accessory sex organs. You already know what are accessory sex organs. Can anyone tell me one or two? Males के accessory sex organs कौन से हैं? चलो बोलो फटाफट. हाँ, this chapter is there for your FLT. हाँ, very good, Zoe. Yes, beta. Which are the other accessory sex organs associated? Only one girl is going to give the test this time. Yes, second also. Yes, yes. Jaya, correct. Yes, Kinjal, beta, correct. Very good, Divya. Okay. So these all are going to be your examples of accessory sex organs. Females नहीं, हाँ, females you have answered yes. Females का अभी तक आया नहीं है. Yes. Then spermatogenesis, formation of sperm, of course. Stimulates sexual behavior, which is the libido, growth of muscles, hair, aggressiveness, low pitch. Males have got a low pitch voice. Females have got a high pitch voice. Help in anabolism of protein and carbohydrates. Anabolism means formation of proteins and formation of carbs. Okay, this is the functions of the hormones of the testes. Okay, ovary is a female primary sex organ. A pair of ovaries is located in the abdomen. It produces one ovum during each menstrual cycle. Ovary is formed of ovarian follicles and stromal tissues. We know this. Ovarian follicles produce estrogen. Specifically, also you know which particular layer is going to produce estrogen. Come on, do you all recollect? Theca. Very good, very good, very good, Zui. Yes. The theca interna. Yes, the theca interna is going to produce estrogen. After ovulation, the ruptured follicle forms a structure called as corpus luteum. I hope you recollect all these things. And corpus luteum is going to synthesize one more hormone called as the progesterone. Correct? These things are repeated for you, but still it's a part of this chapter as well. Functions of estrogen: stimulates growth and activities of female secondary sex organs, which you have already mentioned correctly. Development of ovarian follicles. So primordial follicle, primary follicle, secondary follicle, Graafian follicle, primary oocyte, secondary oocyte, all these are going to be the effect of estrogen. Correct? Female secondary sex characters, for example, high pitch voice, sexual behavior of females, development of the mammary glands, all are under the influence of estrogen. Okay, now progesterone is called as pregnancy hormone, and estrogen is responsible for maintaining the ovarian follicles, menstrual cycle, mammary glands. Correct? Functions of progesterone, as I said, it supports pregnancy. It acts on mammary glands to stimulate formation of alveoli and milk secretion. So these all will be done by whom? Progesterone. Then I had told you that other than glands, there are other parts of our body also who are involved in making certain hormones. So see, hormones of heart, kidney, and gastrointestinal tract. So first we talk about the heart, atrial wall, ANF. Just now in circulation we have done this. So it produces a peptide hormone called as atrial natriuretic factor, ANF. When blood pressure increases, ANF causes vasodilation, that is increase in the size of the blood vessels to reduce the blood pressure. So here you can see the lumen is constricted. Under the influence of ANF, the lumen has increased. So it was small, it has become big now. Correct? And the blood flow का pressure अभी maintain हो गया. That is your ANF. JJ, come on. Juxtaglomerular apparatus. It produces the hormone erythropoietin. It stimulates erythropoiesis, means formation of RBCs. So देखो formation of RBCs तीन लोग कर रहे हैं. अभी तक हमने third time ये सुना है. We are reading this for the third time. Formation of RBCs is also going to be taken care by erythropoietin, which is the hormone produced by the juxtaglomerular apparatus of kidney. Okay, got it? Same diagram we have seen earlier as well in this excretion chapter. Gastrointestinal hormones कौन से हैं? You remember these four: gastrin, secretin, GIP, and CCK. These four digestion chapter. Gastrin stimulate gastric glands to produce what? हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड एंड पेप्सिनोजेन। आगे उसका क्या होता है यूज, वो डाइजेशन में हमने ऑलरेडी देख लिया है। Secretin stimulates exocrine pancreas to secrete water and bicarbonate ions. Correct? GIP, gastric inhibitory peptide. नाम से ही पता चल रहा है, it will act on the gastrin to stop its production. So it inhibits gastric secretion. GIP. Correct? Why GIP will start synthesizing? You know now, the food has now entered the small intestine. So there is no food in the stomach. Then why unnecessarily to make the gastrin hormones? Stop its production. So GIP will take care of it. And cholecytokinin, that is CCKs, stimulates the secretion of bile from gallbladder and pancreatic enzymes from the pancreas, which will further help in digestion. So these four are not glands. There are no glands over here who are synthesizing these hormones. These are the part of our organs only who are involved in making these hormones. So gastrin, secretin, GIP, CCK. Okay. Yeah, intestine. Yes, beta. GIP is going to be from the small intestine. Correct. Okay. Any difficulty with these things? Any problem in understanding these things? So heart का ANF देखा, kidney का erythropoietin देखा, and gastrointestinal का gastrin secreting GIP and CCK देखा. Right? Correct? Good. Several other non-endocrine tissues secrete hormones called as growth factors. These are essential for the normal growth of tissues and their repairing or regeneration. So these all are non-endocrine. Whatever we saw just now, they were non-endocrine. Okay. Types of hormones broadly classified. Now this is a chart which is 110% going to come in your examinations if they are not going to ask you in this NEET. This year के NEET में अगर ये नहीं आया ना तो तुम्हारे पेपर में ये 110% आने वाला है. What is endocrine system? Endocrine system is hormonal system. Okay, hormonal system. Yeah. So exactly. So they don't have ducts. They'll pour their secretions directly into the bloodstream. That is called as hormones being poured into the bloodstream, endocrine. Okay. Which are the peptide hormones or polypeptide or protein hormones? Insulin, glucagon, pituitary, hypothalamic hormones, all are peptide hormones. Steroids कौन से हैं? Cortisol, testosterone, estradiol, and progesterone, estrogen, ये सारे steroidal hormones हैं. Iodothyronins, of course your thyroid hormones, which are those? Thyroxine and thyrocalcidone. These are iodothyronines. And amino acid derivatives are only two, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Okay. Estradiol is the immature form of, actually it's estrogen. You can remember it as estrogen. That's fine. Okay. It's one and the same. You can see. So this comes as match the following: peptide hormone, steroid hormone, iodothyronins, and amino acid hormones. Okay. Right column may they give you all these. So you have to mix and match and make the column match perfectly. Okay. Then lastly, to end this chapter, we have to understand the mechanism of hormone action, how it is going to be done. Within 5 minutes, I'll complete this. Let us complete this chapter because only this part is remaining, that how it is, the action is going to go ahead. Very simple, very easy. Just hormones produce their effects by binding to specific proteins called as hormone receptors located in tissues, target tissues. A hormone binds to its specific receptor to form hormone receptor complex. It leads to biochemical changes in the target tissue and thereby regulates metabolism and physiological function. So here you can see very clearly that this is a hormone, correct? It is coming and attaching to the receptor, correct? Then they form a hormone receptor complex and then they go to their target areas and they show their action. So how is it going to happen? By two methods. Let us see both of them. Okay. So hormone receptors are of two types: membrane bound and intracellular. Membrane bound means what, beta? On the cell membrane, we have got the receptors where the hormone will come and bind. Okay? Once it comes and bind over here, then what will happen? A response will be triggered, which will directly make the physiological activity. Second is intracellular receptors. Intra means inside the cell. So here the receptor is going to be present over here inside the nucleus. So the hormone will come, enter the cell membrane, enter the cytoplasm, enter inside the nucleus and reach their receptor. So this receptor is within the nucleus. So either they'll be on the cell membrane or it would be inside the nuclear membrane. Okay, so there are two areas where the hormone receptors are going to be present. Fine. So see, first we talk about the membrane bound receptors. Some hormones, example protein hormones like FSH, interact with membrane bound receptors. They do not enter the target cell. It generates second messengers. Example cyclic AMP, IP3, calcium. ये secondary messengers होते हैं. It in turn regulates cellular metabolism and causes physiological effects. So let us see how. Example is FSH. It came, interacted with the receptor on the cell membrane. It did not come in. But this interaction caused a response. This response generated a second messenger. What are the second messengers? Cyclic AMP or calcium ions. They will make the biochemical response. And this biochemical response will lead to the physiological response. Example, ovarian growth. So FSH directly does not alter the ovarian growth. ये via method से आता है. Correct? AMP is a cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Okay? AMP is adenosine monophosphate. Cyclic AMP. Fine ना? तो ये मैसेंजर है. मैसेंजर एक मैसेंजर दूसरे को बताएगा, दूसरा तीसरा कुछ करेगा और फिर एक्चुअल इफेक्ट दिखाई देगा. सो हियर व्हाट डू यू थिंक? एफएसएच आया, हाँ, सो साइक्लिक एएमपी जनरेट हो गया. साइक्लिक एएमपी ने क्या किया? थीका इंटरना, ईस्ट्रोजन फॉर्मेशन, ये सब कुछ कराया. अल्टीमेटली ईस्ट्रोजन ने क्या किया? ग्रोथ ऑफ द ओवेरियन फॉलिकल्स. Okay, so this is the way the hormone action is seen. This is one method, and last method is this, that is membrane bound receptors. Same है देखो, hormone FSH binds to the receptor, hormone receptor complex is formed, response 1 is generated, response will generate second messenger like cyclic AMP or calcium. A biochemical response will be formed, which will cause the growth of the ovary, which is going to be called as the physiological response. Same thing. Okay. And look at the second method now. Intracellular method. Some hormones interact with the intracellular receptors, mostly nuclear receptors. So these receptors will be present inside the nucleus. Example, steroid hormones, iodothionins. Okay. They mostly regulate the gene expression or chromosome function. Means why they have to enter the nucleus? Because they want their effect to be seen in the chromosome, or they want their effect to be seen in the gene. So they directly go and attack the DNA. Okay. So they are going to have interaction with the regulators present inside the nucleus to form hormone receptor complex within the genome. So within the DNA, this particular complex is going to be formed. Fine. Cumulative biochemical actions result in physiological and developmental effects. Cumulative means collectively. All these things collectively will result in the physiological and developmental effects. Understood this? Look at the diagram, beta. ये देखो. Hormone estrogen आया. It came inside. Directly inside the nucleus. This is the nucleus. Okay, here is the hormone estrogen receptor बना, physiological response that is, देखो जीनोम के साथ ये आके बाइंड हो गया, डीएनए के साथ ये बाइंड हो गया, एमआरएनए बनाया, प्रोटीन बनाया एंड रिस्पॉन्स सिंथेसाइज किया. सो देयर आर टू मेथड्स. वन, मैसेंजर बाहर ही रहेगा, रिसेप्टर बाहर ही रहेगा. ओके, दोनों का बाहर कोऑर्डिनेशन होके अंदर की चीजें सारी बराबर आगे कैरी आउट होगी. यहाँ पर क्या होगा, they will enter inside the nucleus and do the things by themselves. So these are the two mechanisms of hormone action. See, example, hormone, example estrogen binds to the receptors, hormone receptor complex is formed, it stimulates genome is DNA for the formation of messenger RNA. messenger RNA बनते ही प्रोटीन्स बनेगा उसमें से, एंड प्रोटीन बना तो प्रोटीन का एक्शन दिखाई देगा. So tissue growth and differentiation will be seen. Got it? So this is about your two hormonal actions. One is extracellular, one is intracellular. Any difficulty in understanding any of these, beta? Any part not understood? Clear? That's all with this chapter. What happens in the nucleus you didn't understand? See, it has entered the nucleus. I'll tell you. Don't worry. See, it has entered the nucleus. In the nucleus now this component will be a part of this DNA. Okay, this will be a part of this DNA. Once it becomes a part of this DNA, whatever messenger RNA will be produced will be having signal from this also. Okay, and therefore this will then make the proteins according to this particular instruction. So according to this instruction, this protein is synthesized, new protein is synthesized. ठीक है, अब समझा? DNA, normally what is not going to happen? DNA will get converted into mRNA, mRNA will get converted into a polypeptide, polypeptide will form a protein. Normal case. Here, because this complex has come, it will be a part of this DNA. So इसका message भी mRNA पे copy हो जाएगा और नया protein बनेगा. Detach from, no, it is not necessary for it to detach. No, it will not go to the cytoplasm. It will be there. It will remain there. Got it? Fine. No problem now. Everything understood? Precisely. Good. So with this, we have completed one more chapter, that is chemical control and coordination. Next week, I guess my lectures are not there because you have got your FLT. So Wednesday, Friday, both days, my lectures are not going to be scheduled. That is what I came to know. So you have got ample time to study for your FLT. All the best, beta. If any doubts are there, definitely, you can ask me anytime. Okay? Suggestions for FLT, read your NCRT content very precise. NCRT पे ज़्यादा focus करना. ठीक है? Yes, beta. Thank you. Same to you all. Same to you all. So I think now directly we'll be meeting in the next year, New Year, I guess. Well, so yes. Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Enjoy yourself, of course, but taking care of your tests, exams, preparations, and a little bit of enjoyment as well. Correct? Yes. Bye, beta. Yeah, same to you all. Same to you all. Enjoy. Bye. Bye, beta. Thank you.